There we go. Okay, get out of there. No, no, not you. Not you. I'm wanting the camera to get out of there. Okay. So now that's playing. We can go down. Scroll back up. Make sure that we're live. And there we go. Health, health, health. I'm just going to come in. Say hello.
Hi guys, we're just waiting for other people to come in, then we'll start the webinar. Hi Catherine, we're just waiting for other people to come in, then we'll start the webinar. Thank you. We're going to give everyone about 3 more minutes and then we'll start the webinar. So welcome to the Women's Autoimmune Health webinar. My name is Camille McClellan.
And I'm Brett McClellan.
And we would like to thank you for taking your time to be here with us to spread the word about how you can reclaim your health naturally and specifically take control of your own autoimmune conditions.
Now, we know from personal experience that the information provided in this webinar will help you decrease or even possibly eliminate your autoimmune problems. So we think you're going to get a lot out of it. But first, in order to get the most out of this webinar, you might want to put your phone on silent, turn off the radio or the TV, reduce any other distractions, so that you don't miss this very important information.
As you know, today we're going to be telling you the keys to reducing your autoimmune symptoms, including lupus, Hashimoto's, type 1 diabetes, MS, rheumatoid arthritis, Graves, GERD, IBS, and IBD. By far, autoimmune conditions are the most prevalent issues that we come across during our years of helping people get healthy naturally. Dozens and dozens of people suffering from autoimmune conditions have benefited from our assistance, and we found that our 10-step program relieves a vast majority of their symptoms extremely quickly. We're so passionate about spreading the word that we've decided to host this free webinar to help as many people out as possible.
And both of us have also personally suffered from autoimmune conditions in the past. We've discovered natural ways to recover without having to take pharmaceutical drugs.
We now know that you would not be here, this webinar with us, if you were not also suffering. Believe me, you're not alone. We've seen the same autoimmune issues over and over again, and we have successfully helped our friends and family, clients overcome them. Autoimmune issues are very rampant in today's society, and there are many reasons why. We'll be talking about the main reasons today. The bottom line is that we know that you wouldn't be here with us right now at this webinar for the information that you needed if you didn't need it?
Yes. In all likelihood, you're with us here today if you're suffering, obviously, from some sort of autoimmune issue. If you've gone to many doctors, been poked, prodded, prescribed drugs with limited or no results, and maybe even some bad side effects. You may feel alone, confused, frustrated, and you need an answer. You also may be with us here today if you're willing to make a commitment to reclaim control of your health, and you want to try your very best to do so naturally and without drugs.
Let us assure you that if you fit in any of the categories above, you're in the right place, because we're going to cover the rise of autoimmune conditions in today's society, the main causes of autoimmunity, so that you can understand why it's happening to you, and what you can do today to dramatically reduce your symptoms naturally and begin experiencing a normal or even better than normal life.
Again, we're so passionate about helping those with autoimmunity that we felt we needed to hold this free webinar to reach as many people as possible. We promise to teach you as much as we can in the amount of time that we have today, and then we'll tell you how we can provide personal assistance to those of you with more acute, resilient symptoms that don't seem to go away with time. For those of you that may require more assistance from us, stay on for the entire webinar and we'll have a special offer for you at the end. First, let's go over our backgrounds, and we'll let Camille take that on.
Well, I struggled with digestive issues since I was a child, and later in life I was faced with additional autoimmune and immunological concerns that actually made my life a little more difficult. My digestive problems grew worse, and every doctor I visited, and they turned me away, and thinking that my symptoms were psychosomatic. So I suffered from reflux with every meal, and even suffered at night, suffocating with palpitations included because of it, until I met my husband, Brett. I have a master's degree in biomedical sciences from Barry University, and I went to medical school at Xavier University and I graduated there. Then I did 2 years of internship at family medicine and internal medicine, during which I started to realize that my heart wasn't really truly in conventional medicine. I saw many of my patients suffering from conditions that I felt could be addressed with more natural solutions. So I entered alternative medicine and I never looked back. I dedicated several more years in integrated medicine and received my doctorate from naturopathy, and I trained in herbal medicine, reflexology, Ayurvedic medicine, biofeedback, essential oils, and many other modalities. But my passion really lied in homeopathy. So I'm furthering my studies there, and I'm doing a 3-year certification at American Medical College of Homeopathy. And now I'm going to turn it over to my husband, Brett, and he will tell you his story.
Again, my name is Brett McClellan, and I'm a certified primal blueprint expert. If you haven't heard of the primal blueprint, it's basically an ancestral health program consisting of lifestyle changes, including diet and exercise. Now, how did I get there? Well, when I was in my 30s, I started gaining undesirable weight that I couldn't seem to lose no matter how active I was. And I was pretty active. I started getting cholesterol issues, for which I was, of course, prescribed a statin, a daily statin drug. I started experiencing reflux, for which I had to have an operation. That was not a very comfortable operation. And I also started experiencing arthritis in my feet and had to have an operation for that as well. That was not very pleasant either. The doctors, when I asked them why I was apparently falling apart, the doctors told me that it just comes with age. It's just stuff that comes with age, which for a scientific and athletic guy like myself was really entirely an unacceptable explanation. In fact, it kind of ticked me off. But I didn't know anything at the time about nutrition. So really, I had to accept it. And now I know better. I know better because of my wife, Camille. When we first met, she was experiencing, as she mentioned earlier, probably the worst case of reflux that I'd ever seen. She was hardly able to eat 2 bites of a meal before reflux really bubbled up and ended the meal for her. She was just unable to eat hardly anything. And this was with the purple pill and lots of other drugs that had been prescribed to her. Around that time, I was listening to a podcast on which Rob Wolf, the author of The Paleo Solution, was the guest. He, without ever having known Camille, basically rattled off all the symptoms that she was having and why she was suffering from them. So we decided to get this book, and I highly recommend it, and give it a read. And actually, after reading it, we gave the ancestral or paleo diet a try. And the results were simply amazing. Camille could eat normally almost overnight. In fact, both of us eliminated our reflux symptoms that we had. Also, I lost my extra weight. I came off my cholesterol medication and stopped experiencing the pains of arthritis very quickly. And since we started this new ancestral-based lifestyle, I quickly became immersed and obsessed with it. And if you can ask Camille, I obsess on things. This one, however, turned out to be a very, very long obsession. In fact, a career for me. So I quickly became obsessed with it, absorbing as much information as I could, as often as I could, and that continues to this day. That's why I decided to get a certification as a primal blueprint expert. And this lifestyle, there's a lot more to it than we can actually tell you in this webinar. We only have a limited amount of time. But this lifestyle has been shown to greatly improve not only autoimmune conditions specifically, but in general, health across the board. So we began incorporating it into our program with our clients, and to great success. Now, we know that these are just our stories, and we know that you're suffering from your own individual symptoms that may or may not be similar. Regardless, we have all suffered from autoimmune symptoms, which is why we're here today, and we're going to tell you in greater detail how we resolved our symptoms and reclaimed control of our health. And we're absolutely certain that those steps will help you as well. Let's get into the teaching points. And the first teaching point is on the rise of autoimmunity. Take it away, Camille.
Right. So the National Institute of Health indicates that over 24 million people, or Americans, suffer from autoimmune conditions, and the number is rising. Others estimate that the number is closer to 50 million. Approximately 5 to 8% of the population has been diagnosed with autoimmune disease. In our opinion, many more cases are going undiagnosed, and even more do not qualify as disease, such as IBS. Autoimmune conditions come in many shapes and forms, but some of the common examples are Hashimoto's, lupus, diabetes type 1, multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, Graves' disease, IBS, and IBD. Hashimoto's, thyroiditis, and Graves' disease, over 200 million people worldwide have been diagnosed with thyroid problems. And likely another 100 million are estimated to be undiagnosed. Lupus has tripled since the 1950s, and diabetes type 1 is up over 23% since 2001. Multiple sclerosis has tripled since the early 1980s, and rheumatoid arthritis is expected to increase over 34% by 2030. IBS and IBD now affects approximately 20% of the population in North America. The above examples are only the most common autoimmune conditions. There are many more. that are less common. But the bottom line is that autoimmune symptoms are on the rise. Why? We have an opinion on this, but let's dig a little deeper into the main reasons why autoimmunity occurs in the first place.
All right. Second teaching point of this webinar is the main cause of autoimmunity. And of course, the term autoimmunity, which I'm sure you're familiar with, describes a condition where the body is attacked by its own natural defenses. There are many reasons why the body may do this, but for the purposes of this webinar, we'd just like to focus on the most prevalent one that we've seen that affects all of us to some degree, and that's gut inflammation. Gut inflammation, or leaky gut syndrome, is associated with fatigue, joint and muscle aches, autoimmune conditions, of course, allergies, depression, cognitive problems, autism, ADHD, the list goes on and on. I've got them all written out there. Asthma, inflammatory conditions, metabolic problems, obesity, diabetes. And in our experience, the gut inflammation is a very big commonality of all of these problems. It's the one of the main root causes for the vast majority of the inflammation and consequently the autoimmunity that we see out there. Now, how does this happen? Well, I'll show you how it happens. It happens kind of like this. The standard modern diet of today is rife with highly processed food-like products that are actually detrimental to your digestive tract and therefore detrimental to your health. Try reading the ingredients on these products and ask yourself, I mean, seriously, ask yourself, were we really meant to eat this stuff? I mean, my God, look at some of the ingredients in here. Many food products on the grocery store shelf today contain far too many carbohydrates, sugars, chemicals, anti-nutrients, all kinds of issues in there, all of which can cause gut inflammation. And why is this important? Here's your takeaway. Why is this important? That's because a healthy gut is absolutely essential for a healthy immune system. If you remember anything from this webinar, you got to remember that. Now, why is that the case, Camille?
Well, the digestive tract contains around 100 trillion microorganisms that help regulate the immune function. If, in fact, the gut flora accounts for roughly 80% of your immune system's defense. By consuming today's modern standard diet with all the processed chemicals and anti-nutrients, you're basically attacking your own digestive tract and compromising your own immune system. Now, what are the main weapons associated with this attack on your gut? The main weapons, I'm going to list about 4 of them for you. The main weapon is lectins. Now, lectins are basically a plant's natural defense against enemies. And some animals, like birds, are very well adapted to consuming lectins. Humans, however, are not. Lectins can cause severe digestive problems in people, especially those with celiac disease. My sister has celiac disease, and it's not pretty from the way she describes it. She has one molecule of gluten, which is a lectin, by the way, and she is not in good shape. She's in very bad shape, and I feel really bad for her. But the celiacs have it the worst as far as gluten is concerned. The main offending lectin is gluten, which is found in very high concentrations in wheat, other grains, and in beans. So all grains actually, and here's a fact for you, all grains contain lectins to some degree, even oats, corn, and rice. So you may have some gluten-free stuff, but it could have oats, corn, rice, and those have lectins in them as well. They're not gluten, but they are similar to gluten. So here's another factoid for you. All people, that's 100% of people are sensitive to gluten.
to some degree. Celiacs obviously being on the worst end of the spectrum. And on the best end of the spectrum, you'll have people that only experience a very, very mild inflammation of the gut. So to me, I'd rather just avoid the gut inflammation entirely and not even be on the scale of gluten sensitivity. Okay, so now how do lectins actually affect the gut? So let's get into a little bit more detail here. The short story is that lectins look a lot like other proteins that are digestible. So the gut actually does try to digest the lectins, but it can't, and that creates problems. It creates inflammation in the gut and intestinal permeability, as shown in this diagram here. The intestinal permeability, when the one cell membrane, the endothelium of the gut actually kind of becomes permeable, then it allows other microorganisms, toxins, and pathogens into the gut and into the bloodstream. So that's what intestinal permeability is. It lets other toxins flow into the bloodstream, and once those toxins are actually recognized by the immune system, that immune system mounts an attack on the gut, causing more inflammation and or leaky gut syndrome. When your gut is under attack, as we discussed earlier, the gut being 80% of your immune system anyway, when your gut is under attack, the very foundation of your immune system is compromised. So control 80% of your immune system, and you control 80% of your health. Let's talk about another weapon out there in the war against your gut, really.
Phytates are the anti-nutrients, which are basically compounds that prevent the body's proper absorption of real nutrients. They are present in whole grains and legumes, and in the digestive tract, they bind to important minerals such as iron, zinc, magnesium, copper, calcium, and they inhibit your absorption of these minerals. This can lead to other nutrient deficiencies like vitamin A, C, vitamin B12, vitamin D deficiencies.
Right. So they're bad guys too, these phytates. And a third weapon against your gut that attacks your gut are saponins. Mainly found in legumes or beans, saponins can permeate not only the gut cell membranes, but also the membranes of all other cells. This, in turn, can cause leaky gut, inflammation, and prevent the proper function of red blood cells and virtually any other cells in the body. In fact, saponins are so irritating to the immune system that they're used in vaccine research to trigger the body to mount a powerful immune response. That's how irritating they are to the immune system. And the last one we're going to talk about here, the last weapon against your gut, is lactose, which of course comes from dairy products. And in order to properly digest dairy products that have lactose in them, your body must also produce an enzyme called lactase, something that roughly 75% of the adult world does not have is lactase. And that's why lactose intolerance is so prevalent these days. These dairy products sometimes or oftentimes have a protein called casein, which is similar in structure to gluten and therefore can cause autoimmune issues similar to gluten. So most dairy products, and this is not to mention the fact that most dairy products come from grain-fed cows that have been pumped with hormones, antibiotics, GMOs, steroids, and other things that could potentially damage your digestive tract, cause problems, and give you toxins, and thus affect negatively your immune system. So the bottom line here is that by consuming today's standard modern diet, you are providing ammunition to the toxins and pathogens that attack your body from the inside. So there's a little analogy for you right there with today's diet versus your health. So really, what are you going to do to protect yourself? Well, we're about to tell you that, but first we have an offer for you. Camille, how about you tell them about our offer?
What you can do naturally now. We're so confident that you can reclaim control of your health naturally that we're offering this information to you free. We sincerely hope that you improve your symptoms with the advice we're about to tell you. However, some of you have conditions that require additional assistance, and that's where we can help. For those people, we are offering a gift for staying through the webinar today.
Right, and I'll get into the programs. Basically, we have 3 programs, the silver, gold, and platinum package. Each package, every one of them, contains, has or includes initial health consultations, which typically last a long time because it takes a long time to get through your history, and we ask a lot of questions. So that's a typically 3 to 4 hour health consultation. Whoops. We also give you recommendations for additional testing, which you should get pretty well done immediately so that we can take a look at the results. This is for blood work and other tests. Also, an introduction to the digestive tract reset plan that we write specifically for you. It follows the recommendations that we kind of presented in this webinar, and it does follow the ancestral health model. Each package also includes evaluation and recommendations for alternative health modalities, specific natural recommendations such as homeopathic and herbal remedies, essential oils, specific food and supplement recommendations, follow-up testing recommendations, and here's the biggest one, the unlimited support and follow-up consultations for the duration of your selected package. We have 1 month, 3 month, 6 month packages. And we offer our unlimited support, unlimited access via email, text, cell phone, anytime you need to talk with us or anytime we need to talk to you. You have our time and our support. You are our obsession, in short. The gold and platinum clients, actually the 3 month and the 6 month clients, receive bonus materials which include books and journals to assist with their journey towards natural health. Here's a visual, a chart showing the packages. Here's the silver package here. The duration is a month, and there's the price. Gold is 3 months, and platinum is 6 months. We usually see the best results out of the 3 month package because typically 1 month isn't enough because you get your recommendations, you set your appointment, you get tested, and the test results don't even come back, unless you're really on the ball. Tested results don't come back within a month with all of that time. So we will stick around for sure and help you with any interpretations after that time. But the gold package is really where we see the most improvements in the best amount of time. It's usually around 3 to 6 months. So the special offer for the webinar attendees today, they get 20% off of any of the above packages. So 20% off of the prices you see there listed. It's a limited time only. We are offering it for the next 10 days, so it's good through midnight on the 27th. That's our spiel, and we can get more into how you can protect yourself from here on out. So what you can do today. What you can do today, starting today, is make the commitment to yourself right now. Make the commitment to yourself and write it down. It's easy to like an idea and vow to try it, but it's always best to set a start point for your health journey. Take the time today to select a date, if it's not today, to select a date to begin to live a healthier life. You have to make that commitment. The commitment includes elimination of all grains, excuse me, all grains, legumes, that's beans, and dairy for at least 21 days. Now, 21 days is the minimum amount of time that your body needs for a good reset. Now, this is because you actually can change your metabolism. You can change the expression of your genetics, and you can tell your cells to function optimally. But it does take at least 21 days for your body to respond to these instructions at the cellular level.
So
Now, for many people, especially those with autoimmune conditions, a good digestive reset may actually take longer. However, 21 days is enough time for you to feel that change, and it's enough time for you to realize that what you're doing is the right thing and that you should continue to do so.
Go through your refrigerator and your pantry and throw out all the junk food and the processed foods containing grains, legumes, and dairy. We've already told you about the lectins and the phytates, saponins in the grains and legumes. We advise to stop consuming them. We've told you about the bad effects of dairy and why you need to eliminate dairy products during the reset. This is probably the toughest part of the reset, since most people like dairy. So once you've reset your digestive tract, you can then experiment with dairy and see how it affects you. If you experience bloating, gas, diarrhea, constipation, or any other ill effects, you may want to take it easy on the dairy after the reset.
Right, and I'm one of those who really, really likes dairy. I mean, I'm a sucker for a good milkshake, as Camille. But usually if you're really sensitive to dairy, you'll know it. Certainly after the reset, you will definitely, it's so much easier for you to feel the way food affects you. And if you go back and after the reset, you try, you experiment a little bit with the dairy and you find that you are intolerant of it, but you just can't lay off of it, use it as a treat, like every month maybe, or something like that, every other month. Just don't abuse it, and just don't consistently inflame your gut with the dairy. That's what your body's trying to tell you not to do. So that's the way I handle it. I just treat myself every so often. When I can't resist it, I'll get a shake, and then I'll pay for it later every time. But anyway, it's important to remember that each person is different, and some people can tolerate beans and/or dairy much better than others, but you simply will not know this until you do the digestive reset diet, so that you can establish a good baseline upon which to experiment. You'll know what feels good because you will have been doing it for the last 21 days. So then once you start introducing new stuff, you're going to know pretty quickly whether that food agrees with you or not. Now, chances are, however, that you will likely need to avoid most, if not all, grains from your diet as much as possible, in all likelihood, for the rest of your life. There are some exceptions here, but it's just, we can't really get that far down into the details. We just don't have enough time. That's a question you guys can follow up with me later on, me or Camille. You will also, as part of this reset, what you really need to do is reduce your intake of carbohydrates. Check out the graphic here. Too many carbs in your diet can really cause dramatic insulin spikes, resulting in insulin resistance, inflammation, and storage of excessive fat. We recommend that you limit your carb intake to 150 grams per day or less, depending on your activity level and whether or not your desire is to lose weight. If your desire is to lose weight, then you want to stick to around 100 grams of carbs per day or less. If you're very, very active, though, you can get away with more. Don't recommend too much chronic cardio or anything like that, but if the more active you are, the more carbs you can have, but try to stick around the 150 grams a day or less. Now, also as part of the reset, in order to properly reset your digestive tract, you must also overhaul your intestinal bacteria with the right flora. Now, we recommend supplementation with a soil-based prebiotic like Prescript Assist, and along with or alongside a very reputable probiotic like Primal Probiotics, which is shown up here on the screen, and VSL, that's VSL number 3. All of them are available over the counter and or at Amazon.com. And we also sell the Primal Probiotics on our website, and we sell them, we use them And we also use the Prescript Assist and the VSL. This is just, we would not promote products that we don't ourselves use. So we have absolutely zero affiliation with Prescript Assist or VSL, but we do have an affiliation with Primal Blueprint products, which we do sell on our site. Okay. Now, the immediate benefits of the reset you're going to notice are the modulation of sugar and insulin spikes to provide more consistent energy throughout the day. Now, that's, I remember way back in the day before I actually knew anything about nutrition, I would go to work, and on my way to work, I would go through the drive-through, grab a biscuit, and you know, a sausage biscuit or something like that, some hash browns and a Coke, and that was my breakfast. Wow, do you spike out your sugar and your insulin there? And of course, that comes with a good crash in the middle of the morning. I'd get an energy drink, jack my sugars up again, wash, rinse, repeat the rest of the day. One of the immediate benefits that you're going to get from the reset diet is very much consistent energy all day. And can you imagine how productive you're going to be with energy all day? And I'm talking all the way into the evening. It's really amazing. And this is something that you can do simply from home right now. Implement that digestive reset. Also, any digestive symptoms that you are having, any problems that you're having, will likely improve, or at least you'll get a better handle on it. You know, through the reset diet. Camille, like we mentioned before, Camille was having big problems with reflux early on when we were dating, and things turned around really quickly for her in the reset. You'll also probably notice that you actually think more clearly, like a thin veil of fog has been lifted from your brain after about 3 or 4 days, and we get it a lot from our clients. They say that they can actually think better, they can actually access words and talk better. It's something that has to do with the gut-brain-skin axis, and that's another topic for a different webinar at a different time. But suffice it to say that the gut has everything to do with everything in your body, including your brain. The better your gut is, the better able you are to think. So also, the fourth immediate benefit that you're going to see is a fairly dramatic weight loss. Typically, we'll see it within the first month, when we always see it within the first 3 to 6 months. And it's fairly dramatic. People lose the weight that they didn't think that they could lose. We see it all the time. And in sticking with an ancestral health template, including diet and exercise, and maintaining your ideal weight is very easy. Additionally, those who wish to gain weight, there are some people out there who need to gain some weight. They'll also benefit from the reset, since they're going to be better able to absorb the nutrients, and they're going to be better able to achieve their ideal weight. So those are our recommendations for you. And how about we go into a recap?
Okay. We've learned that you simply cannot depend on today's standard medical and nutritional practices to achieve optimal health naturally. We've learned why a great majority of autoimmune conditions are caused by improper nutrition, and how resetting your digestive tract is the first step towards improving your autoimmunity. We've learned how to get started on a program to reclaim your health naturally. So now, if you have any questions, please write them in the chat box and we'll get right to it.
Go ahead and write away in the chat box. And I know that one of the most common questions that we get is, how long does it usually take to see improvements? And usually, obviously, it depends on the person and their individual conditions and symptoms, but typically we start seeing immediate improvements in the first few days, and that's just the superficial stuff, the superficial improvements. That's not like blood work or anything like that. The blood work typically takes more like 3 to 6 months to turn around, and worst cases, you know, it's going to be more than 6 months. but typically you'll see some good results in your blood work and other testing parameters within 3 to 6 months.
Okay. What are most common improvements that you see in your program? Usually we see improvements in energy, concentration, focus, mainly digestion and weight loss, and a decrease in inflammatory markers. We've also seen many improvements across the board for overall health.
It's really, yeah, I mean, it's amazing what this combination of natural dietary recommendations and naturopathic remedies can do. And that's what really kind of sets us apart from the rest of the people out there providing this service. You usually don't see too much in the way of nutrition and supplementing with the naturopathic remedies. Are there any other questions out there?
I think so.
Hey, there we go.
How is your program different than any other dietary program that you've tried?
How is our program different than any other diet programs that we may have tried?
We have alternative modalities involved. We also have herbal recommendations that we provide. We also provide homeopathy recommendations across the board, mind-body medicine as well, and any other modalities that I feel necessary to apply to that particular individual in that particular case. And we also have Brett together with myself with the paleo nutrition.
Absolutely, and I mean our programs include. You should see the number of certifications that Camille has in the different alternative modalities. It's really kind of impressive, very impressive. But as far as the diet program is concerned, this is something that is actually supported and rooted and steeped deeply into science. I mean, this is deeply supported by science, and all of the tests that come back, all of the studies and the research that comes back points towards the efficacy of the ancestral health movement. And it's not like one thing, it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's really more or less just a template, and the template consists of a reset. From that point, from you finishing the reset forward is a very highly individualized process that we help you through. So again, we are available 24/7 pretty much, yes, to all of our clients, and I don't think you're going to get that anywhere else.
Follow-ups.
Right. I think that's all of the questions that we have.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well,
we
go ahead, Camille.
Also, okay, so thank you all so very much for spending your time with us today, and we sincerely hope that you've learned some things that can help you with your journey to optimal health. If you feel that you need additional assistance through one of our programs, be sure to contact us at our phone number and our Facebook group, Facing Autoimmunity Head On. And then we have also a link at the bottom. And you can also go to the yellow button at the bottom of this screen here. It says apply for a call with us, and you can contact us there as well.
Yep, feel free to contact us via phone, email. My email is brett@mcclellannaturalhealth.com, and Camille's is camille@mcclellannaturalhealth.com. So really, thanks so much for spending your time with us, and we hope you enjoyed it. We hope you got something out of it. We hope you improve, and we also hope that you have a happy Thanksgiving as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us.